guys, Commander here, and welcome to a new First Impressions and Opinions review on Star Wars Battlefront 2. And today we are going to be doing a review on the April update. And this update, I don't even know why it wasn't actually called anything. Now, it is just basically like a monthly update where they add just like little things, add like maybe new maps or new features and what have you. And the two major features was Maulin Yoda's blocking and Kashyyyk capital supremacy. I normally just call it by what it is actually titled, but this is actually what it's titled, April update. So I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So maybe like Kashyyyk capital supremacy. I don't know. But so yeah, basically this is just going on and reviewing mainly the Kashyyyk capital supremacy map, because the Maulin Yoda blocking, like, I might do that in a separate video, but considering it's just something so little, I know it's a big thing because, you know, we've gone through like a year well, I think it's like a year and a bit, a year and a half now, where we've had to deal with Maulin Yoda not being able to block and deflect, like, say, blaster fire. But to me, yes, it's a big thing, but I don't use Yoda and Maul that much. Maybe now they've got blocks, I might use them a bit more, but for me, I don't use them enough to warrant it being a massive change. And it is literally just being able to block lightsaber blasters. It's not anything too big, if that makes sense. Now, on the other hand, Kashyyyk in capital supremacy, now this is a massive, because this is something that, this is the second map for capital supremacy, the second of the 4 maps that EA and DICE are releasing for capital supremacy as of yet. I really hope that they include some original trilogy or even some sequel trilogy maps. Maybe they're working on it at the moment, but if it is going to be like Kashyyyk is going to be, the I assume it's got Kamino and Naboo left. But if it is going to be like Kashyyyk, then they are basically just conversion maps with a couple of extra assets of like environmental clutter and whatnot. But I'll get to that in a second. But first of all, I want to just go over like this main just capital supremacy. I'm not going to do it for more than Yoda because I've already explained that. But what I liked and what I don't like. Now, there isn't an awful lot that I do not like. Most of it I really do like. I really do like this map. I really enjoy it. You know, and for just a normal, like, for just like the exact same conversion map with a few extra bits of environmental clutter, it actually works really, really well. But I'll get to that in a bit more detail a little bit later on. But anyway, so the first things that I liked. Now, the main thing that I actually liked really, really much is that how well this map works with capital supremacy. Now, you can look at Geonosis, and you can look at Geonosis they've already released, and that works well because they built Geonosis from the ground up around this game mode. So obviously it's going to work. Now, when they said that the remaining 4 Clone Wars maps that exist in Galactic Assault, they're going to turn into a capital supremacy map, I thought, well, this is either going to go really, really well or really, really badly, and I'll tell you why. Kashyyyk and Naboo, yes, although they are capital supremacy game modes, no, they're Galactic Assault game modes, but they're not designed for capital supremacy. They are quite open. Kashyyyk more than Naboo, I'm not entirely sure how Naboo's going to work, whether it is going to be in Theed, and if it is, I'm not sure how it's going to work necessarily because it's very built up. But Kashyyyk, on the other hand, is very, like, open. It's like fighting in an open field, essentially, with, like, bits of clutter, environmental clutter and what have you, around. And that will work, that works really well. And it's literally just a case of putting a few environmental clutter parts about, putting the command posts here, there, and everywhere, and it go on like that. Things about going up into the, capital ship, that is just exactly the same, as it was before, because it is just cutscenes in the same map, just recycled. But Kashyyyk works really well because it is such an open map anyway, and the Galactic Assault map in itself is so big that is enough to be a capital supremacy map in and of itself. So I'm not entirely bothered about Kashyyyk because I knew that was going to be a good map. I was wondering if it was going to be boring because, like, what else can you do with Kashyyyk, aside from what you've already got? But then I saw they added the environmental clutter, to it, and I thought, yeah, it just gives a bit of a freshness. But I'll talk about what I think about that in a bit later on. But in regards to like other maps, like again, Naboo, I can understand, I can sort of get my head around it. It is a bit built up, but it could work if they do it correctly. Kamino, though, I'm really interested to see how that's going to work, and I'll tell you why. It's because Kamino is mostly platform on platform. You're basically just walking across platforms for most of the time, and or being inside. Now, for the past two Capital Supremacy maps, they've all been solely based outside. There's nothing inside at all. Now, they're going to... I have a suspicion they're going to do Kamino next for the May update. Is it a... Yeah, May update, yeah. But I have a weird suspicion they're going to do it for the May update. But, saying that, though, like... Just looking at Kamino, I'm really interested to see how it's going to work, because Kamino is either outside in the rain on platforms, so it's not very much like you can go wherever you want, because even the Galactic Assault map, the outside bit is very restricting in where you can go, because of the way the way Kamino is as a planet. It's a water-based planet with platforms. And then the rest of it is just inside. So how that's going to work, I'm not entirely sure, because there isn't much room inside anyway. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to get that to work. Naboo, yes, it might be a bit of a pain, it might be slightly irritating, but I think Naboo for the most part will work quite well. So that's just what I think about, like, Kashyyyk works really well, especially because there's loads of like camouflage and you can hide behind different things. Like hide behind trees, sneak up on people, like you can do in Galactic Assault. So that's what I liked about Kashyyyk. It is really good for this game mode. And something else I do like is that the CIS skins are now on Kashyyyk. Now, the reason it's really hard for me to explain this, but on Geonosis came with Capital Supremacy with those CIS skins. That was the first time we saw the CIS skins. Now, if you don't know what I mean by CIS skins, is the blue markings on the vehicles. So the AATs, the MTTs, etc. And I think that looks much better. I wish they had that all together, or at least release it as a skin for Galactic Assault, because it just looks really like having it as the Trade Federation like colours. It's just, one, it's dull, and two, it doesn't make any sense. But I think the blue and white just gives it a lot more character, and a lot more like character towards the actual Clone Wars, because all the Clone Wars stuff was just blue and white during the Clone Wars TV show, which I did really like, and had seen it added into Battlefront 2. It just adds that extra bit of like immersion into the Clone Wars and bringing it all together. So seeing that on Kashyyyk, even if it's just like the crashed MTTs that are just environmental clutter, it works really well. It looks really, really cool. So that I do like quite a lot. And something else I do like, now I mentioned this a bit before on I was talking about Kashyyyk just as a map, but for the same map, it works really well and it's not boring. Now, I thought when I saw I can't remember, I was watching some gameplay, I can't remember who it was from, on YouTube, because I was at college when it released. So I was watching some gameplay of it on YouTube and I thought, it's the exact same map. I have a weird suspicion it's going to get really boring really quickly. You know, at least with Geonosis, it was a brand new map. It wasn't the same as the Galactic Assault map. It was the exact same map, which I thought it was going to be. Geonosis, I thought it was going to be an extension to the Galactic Assault map, because this is what they like advertise it to be. It wasn't. It's a brand new map. So brand new map. Get used to the environment, play it, it's brilliant, it's really like new and fresh. And I thought, when I saw that Kashyyyk was the exact same map just with a few different features in it, I thought, hang on a minute, how is this going to work? Like, this is going to get really boring really, really quickly. And having played it for myself, I now know that, yes, it is probably going to get boring a lot quicker than Geonosis did, because it is basically the same map that we're playing on. But because the game mode works so differently, what Galactic Assault does is it's very much an on-rails type of game mode. So you can't advance any further. You can't advance any further than the game will allow you to, and you can't go back on yourself because if the board is moving with the targets that you're using. So that's the reason why I like that Kashyyyk works in the way that it does. But because Capital Supremacy is very much a open map where you can go wherever you want and you're not restricted by the on-rails element of Galactic Assault, you can then go wherever you want, and consequently you can do it how you want to do it. There's no set rules. Like, it's not like this is how you need to play it to the letter. The game modes, basically you do what you, this is the objectives, and you do it how you want to do it. There's no like pinpoint accuracy rules you need to play against to get to play the game effectively, which is why I like it. And I think because it is so different, the game works so differently on the same map, I think it gives that more fresh like look to it, which I think is really, really cool. And I think that will keep it. I might get bored a little more quicker than I did when I did it on then Geonosis, but I can see that it'll last me until like the next update when they bring out the next map. And also, considering that it's switching between Geonosis and Kashyyyk, it might last the effect of not getting bored with it a little bit longer, because I'm having to wait to use that map because it is interchangeable between the two. So, and then when Naboo comes, it's every 3, and then when Kamino comes, it's every 4. So maybe that's going to make it last a lot longer. Maybe, I don't know, but that's what I think. You know, for a new map, it is still like, for the same map, it is still quite new and it works rather well. Now, something that I don't like, now this isn't necessarily like a major problem, it's just something that I look at, and this is sort of related to the point that I made just a second ago, about the map in itself. Now, they added some new environmental clutter that wasn't there during, in the Galactic Assault map. But that was about it. They may have changed a couple of the environmental, like, parts, like some of the trees, maybe moved some of the plants, maybe in different places to add a bit more cover aspect to the command posts. But for the most part, there's nothing different about the actual map that you actually play in. Yes, there's, like, the environment's different. Like, you can see the Providence class battleship and the Venator class Star Destroyer in the air, and the Venator Star Destroyer on the back of the map is on fire. But the actual playing of the game that you're in, the map that you're playing in, there isn't much difference to it with the Galactic Assault map, and that's the reason why I think it's going to get a bit boring. And maybe if they added a few new different things in it, like maybe some crashed AATs or some crashed Vulture droids, just to make it look like an all-out war has broken out. Because it's like, if you watch the Battle of Kashyyyk on in Revenge of the Sith, it was an all-out war. Like, it was like a nuke had just blown up the entire of the Kashyyyk beach. I don't want to try and pronounce it. It's something like Kashyyyk Beach or something along those lines. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce it. But it was like an all-out war had taken place, and that's what I like. That's what I want to see. This is the reason what bugs me about the fact that the Galactic Assault was only 40v40. The difference being with Capital Supremacy is we got a few AI bots, so it's actually 32 versus 32, and that works quite well because you're constantly just running into different enemies, whether it's bots or hostile players. But with Galactic Assault, because it's 20 versus 20, I've got about 10 minutes not running into a single enemy, and that's not very realistic to the Clone Wars. But that's what I like, realism. This is why I like Capital Supremacy, because it gives us that realism. But Kashyyyk, because there's nothing different about it, it's just not very interesting to look at. You know, when the game first came out, I thought, you know what, this game is brilliant, it looks absolutely amazing to look at. But now, because I've got used to how good it actually looks, that rating has sort of burrowed down a little bit, and I'm thinking, you know what, yeah, it does look good, but it's just, I know what it looks like, and I know that it looks good. And now we look at the Capital Supremacy map, which is meant to be new, it's not, it's just extended. I look at it and I thought, you know, hang on a minute, this isn't very good. Like, it's just the same thing. You know, Geonosis, when the Galactic Assault map came out, we're like, oh god, this is absolutely brilliant. Then the Capital Supremacy one came out because it was a different map. We're like, yes, this is really, really good. We don't get that with Kashyyyk because it's the same map. and there's nothing different massively that leads us to turn around and say, or me in particular, turn around and say, you know what, this looks really, really good, because it's just the same thing that we've had in Galactic Assault. You know, and it's not a major problem. It's just something that I turn around and I think, you know what, you know, they could have just spent a bit more time getting this right. So yeah, so I don't know. So that is about all we have time for in this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want me to do a quick review on Maul and Yoda's blocking, like update part of the update, then I will. But I don't think I'm going to because it's not like necessary. So, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, if you don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content. If you want to, I would like to hear what your opinions are on this update as well, so leave it in the comment section down below, and I shall see you all later. Bye!